Now that we was able to get this beast inside, it's time to look at the health of the fuel pump. And we're tapped into the fuel pump fuse, looking at amperage. Turning it into a picture. There's 6 to 8 commutators on the fuel pump. We want to stop this and give it a good looking over and see which ones are dropping out and where we're at. Pause you for a second. Now, considering the way I had to get this thing started, this will make a lot of sense. But it's usually 6 to 8 commutators. Let's say there's 8 on this. Let's say we have, 1, 2 healthy ones. I'm gonna start dropping off. I got a measurement ruler here going across the screen. We'll just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's the 1, 2 good ones again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's pretty much a pattern across the screen. So you see the 2 good ones. I'm going to try to roll up some rulers here. Okay, I had to put a couple rulers up here to actually see where we was at. But we're running about 6,700 RPMs. And we're in the under 10 amp range. I think we got enough we're looking at here to know what we got. Should be enough evidence of what we've already done and tested and made happen, so I don't think it'll be a problem. You can see it repeats itself after the other 6 commutators, doubles back up to 2. Yep. It's the same pattern going on there. These are going around fast enough, and these are probably catching enough to keep the pressure up to run. Once you shut it off, it lands on one of these flat spots. That's where it's killing it at. That's why the little technique is what helps it start. Rattle the brushes to the armature, and you can get away with that a couple times, but I wouldn't recommend trying to do that too much. Your luck finally runs out and you end up in front of a gas pump somewhere where you just gassed up, or went in a store and she's not going to start again that way. Now, when we was out in the parking lot, I pulled codes on it first thing, see if anything come up, crank sensor, fuel pump relay, any kind of circuitry or any direction. The only thing we had was the brake switch circuit, 1 high voltage. It's very irrelevant, it doesn't matter, so I didn't bother. One thing I did notice is when you sit in the vehicle with the windows up, you didn't hear the fuel pump run. So I grabbed some cleaner and opened up the throttle body and put a little toot in there, and she hit like she wanted to try to run, but couldn't run off of that. And I know it's just a fuel delivery problem, and we didn't need to look for spark or problems like that. So check the ins and outs on the fuel pump relay, fuel pump fuse. Of course, you're going to look at it first. That's where we was tapped in with the amp probe, looking at the picture on the scope. But I created the throttle closed performance code by having the key in the on position, pushing the throttle open and shooting it, without you doing it from inside here. So if you don't rev it up here and you try to force it open out there, it's going to trigger a code, and I don't know why I wasn't paying attention. I guess I had the key on where I was working outside on the ground. What I eventually did was we finally got our fuel pump in. Comes bare. AC Delco, no fuel level sender comes with it, just a seal. And we're running into a few little snags here. We got rust jacking galore on these line connects, so I'd be careful about trying to get them off. The locks don't even want to undo. L1 popped up there a little bit. It's soaking. Let's see. Connections back there. Oh, party time. It's got a rear tank on it that connects these lines, because the evap hose goes over top of that frame that you don't see until it's almost too late. And here's our fuel pump. Can't believe I got it running again to get it in functional. And then I find this. So we got a burn up connector. Well, one pin's burned. I wouldn't want a chance putting that back to a new fuel pump. It only showed to be pulling 9.5 amps, but you know, must be pulling a load somewhere or another for it to be burning the pin up on it. We can't let that go. This is an out of county person, and you know, hopefully this stuff I can fight it off. It doesn't want to twist or move. These lines don't, so there's no telling what that'll turn into. If something does happen with them, this whole line assembly here, all of it, is going to be coming from the dealer, because you'll never find it anywhere, and you can't do anything but patch and gum on it, and I'm not going to do that. So it'll be hanging here for the next couple days probably, if that turns into the case, if I can't get these lines off safely and without rupturing the O-rings or nicking them. That's part of the game, I guess. I want to get the new fuel pump in so we can take us another scope reading, see what the new one looks like on it. Get us a light set up here. This little jewel goes over top of that frame and then connects to that little white connector. Then there's another connector runs to the rear tank. That was hidden nicely above that framework. So my main concern is this rusty 2011 L.A.S. That's been sprayed and soaking for a while. I'm going to try to work and get everything handled. Get back on this later and finish this video. Well, that's 2 out of 3. This last one, I've got the lock completely out of it, and it is just seized up. I've lubed it, twisted it, and I'm trying to be careful with the line. If the O-ring gets ruptured or anything, then we're in trouble. That is too much 2011 model stuff, man. It's pitiful. Of course, I'm not surprised. I see this all the time. Well, what we'd do if we lived up north, it'd be really a constant, regular routine. Sir, you don't just need a fuel pump, you need lines, you need the works front to back. Well, I eventually ended up having to break this off of the fuel sender, get it down here where I could work it. Get a screwdriver in between this little lip and pry, and hopefully the O-ring didn't sustain any damage. You can tell by looking, I don't really see any nicks. I think it's clean up where the seal is. Just hope this rust wasn't up where the O-ring's at. I think that's about where it stops. I'll put a little something to slide easier onto the to the new one when it gets time. We'll get the fuel pump out of there. Shoot. Put this lock back in there. Got some aftermarket locks, but if I can get this, slide this back in there, it's not as bad as it looks. It's an actual factory lock that goes back in here. I thought it was what was holding me, but you know, I ended up plucking it on out of there, just going for it. And actually, it was just this son of a. That rust was built up. I've sprayed, chipped, and tried to get it down out here. You cannot get up in there because that's already countersunk to the point it's back there like that. So I just had to get the screwdriver in between this side to side, back to front, back to front. Got it to moving, and it came. So we're that far. Call it quits on any video action until I got it all put back together. But lo and behold, we have an extra line here connects. I'm not really sure what that line connects to, so I can't see, but I feel it runs to the front. That's going to connect to the new fuel pump here. Maybe I should have looked up service and repair. This thing is a little more complicated than you would imagine. Right there. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's a new one on me, but this is the new generation. That line, I'm going to have to undo it, and hopefully this fuel pump will lift up out of there. So I'm getting tired. Now it's finally 10 after 2 after a day full of appointments, getting everybody handled. Now we got to replace this connector. Order item, $60. I happen to have something here. Had to repin it and get the heavier gauge wires on the sides because that's the feeds on this. Of course the wire colors ain't gonna match, but this one here is the ground. It's like it burnt. Still metal on there, getting connection if you want to be risky. And that's the feed wire, I'm sure, and then this is a sending unit for the fuel gauge sender. But, we got this one repinned, nice fresh one. It fits right on there, so it'll be nice to have. Get this show on the road. I need to get this off the lift. I've had so many calls, and besides the work I've been into, I've had to be turning some things away. I can't get to them yet until I get this out of the way. I have managed to get these lines back on. Hopefully there's not any problem with leaks. They're all locked on just like factory. Getting one off of the old unit was almost impossible. You've done seen it. All the rust jacking. I finally broke this right off of the top of the fuel pump so I could pull it down and work because it wasn't coming off. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous this didn't come with a fuel level sensor too. I don't like that. I have to change it out. 150,000 miles, you know, it's a lot of wear and tear. Be a shit game put this together and the gas hand be on E because the sender got messed with. You can see where it's had heat from that fuel pump. Resistance building up. Hopefully when we get all said and done, we're in good shape. I need this done. Now we're hooked back up here. Got it running. Now, all the difference I'm seeing here on our scope readings is the fact that we was pulling, let's see, almost 10 amps on the other one. Means it's kind of struggling a little bit. This one is pulling under 9 amps. But the pattern, I expected to see something a little different on that. Now, I haven't tested the theory on lots of different vehicles. I haven't had time to play with this scope as much as I'd like to. It's just here and there. And I'm in here after hours again, making time, but I'll just hit the floor with this. It's Wednesday evening. Tore into it yesterday evening. Of course, the doors are closed. It's about the only time I can get enough quiet to do anything like this. But, you know, our find over here, fuel pump, that's the ground. Remember all the rust jacking, all that fighting, being afraid of the leaks when we're done, trying to save his lines from getting destroyed. You see that pin's burnt. I had to change this connector. It don't come with a pump. So that would probably be, what we're looking at over there may be normal. Another pisser is AC Delco, Detroit, Michigan. Look a little higher. Made in Mexico. Nothing against Mexico, but you know, I would really love something made in Detroit, Michigan. You know, for the money. Would have been nice. But you know, it is what it is. That's why most of your vehicles that we're buying this day and time, the new ones, 2012s, 2013s, timing chain problems, General Motors, and you know, got USA stamped on the door, but where did the parts come from when they put it together over here? my question. We'll slow the time base down and watch it just walk all over the place. The burnt pin connectors was most likely them losing connection. You can see it kind of walking all over. So we don't have a lot better picture than we had before, but I will trust this pump more because we had the connector burn and the pump's been overloaded and we're pulling less amperage. But nothing impressive for before and after, is it? A little disappointing. I expected every one of these commutators to be all the way up. Stop it. Should have put this on something. Spread them out. Spread them out too far, we're going to have a mess. Well, that looks a little funny, doesn't it? That's a brand new pump. Now, I don't think we're upside down here. If we was, we'd just have one touching every now and then, its normal routine. Well, it's very similar to what we had here, except the lower part. Apparently that's the way it jives. That'll have to be good enough. I wanted a before and after, at least we kind of have an idea what one's going to look like. That's with it running. We know what the before looked like. I took some pictures of it. These look like 4 commutators of touching and running on half the fuel pump. That's what it appeared anyway. There's another capture here printed out. It's probably the same as that other one. It's just something we're going to have to expect. We need to start experimenting on other vehicles. This is one that's made a little more sense, like 2 hitting, 4 misses, 2 hits, and then 2 doesn't went around. Well, let's stop it. I'm going to turn this vehicle off. I'm going to look this over a little closer. I'll pause you. So far it looks like we just got a difference in amp draw. Not a lot of difference in picture. If we look down here at this one, that's what the pump running after I got it running in the parking lot. And this is with it up here. I don't know if this is better or worse. But it is what it is. I mean, it's brand new from the dealer. It's the best I can do. May have been just as well off with a parts house pump, but it's showing call for availability like it's impossible and they don't sell them. So I think the burnt connector was probably the thing, and that's not safe. Once the pump's been hot like that, even if I got down in that and replaced that connector and put it together, I'd still be holding my breath. It wouldn't quit on them again. But I think we made the right choice here when we made the pump, replaced it. Well, I guess that's going to have to conclude this one. After everything doing to get it started in the parking lot, bi-directional controls on the scan tool. Cranking it over, bang on the tank because I knew it didn't have any fuel delivery. I didn't hear the fuel pump. Then I activated the fuel pump while I was here by myself on a Sunday morning. It's turned sideways. And the pump didn't come in until yesterday sometime, and I had a schedule going. I was busy. I had to order it from the dealer because parts houses were just iffy on getting it. At least it would have probably came with a fuel level sensor. I felt better with a fresh one with 150,000 miles on it because I'd hate for it to go bad. This was an oddball setup. I've never seen one like it, where 2 tanks connected together and the thing inside the fuel tank itself, that line to connect. But at least we got it all put back together in one piece. I'm pretty confident we're in good shape, especially after finding the burnt connector on it. That helps. I guess as far as when it's running, it's running. The fuel pump readings on the lab scope is, really, I don't see anything impressive there that tells me anything. And looking at the health of a fuel pump, I would, I'd be afraid to go by that only, But after the diagnostics I did out in the yard, so to speak, to get it running and all that, I feel safe enough with it. It's an out-of-county person, and they say get to it whenever I get caught up. Because when they towed it in here on Saturday night like that, it was sideways, and I had to do something with it. I don't like Sundays, coming up here, but I didn't want to try to go out here during work hours as much as this phone rings back to back, and the drop-ins and the schedule already at hand. You can't really do anything outside. It's just impossible to focus. But I got focused down enough to actually get it to run and drive in here. And I've done a before scope just so I could see what was going on. And looks like we found out the after result is not impressive. Nothing better, as far as looks of that. Burnt connector's probably making it lose contact, and vibrations onto the fuel tank. I didn't film myself out there trying to get this thing running or going through the diagnostics procedure, but I know it's a fuel delivery problem. So, this is what it is, and at least I got it running as a finished product anyway. I don't know what else to say about that. That'll conclude this. It'll, it got done. There's plenty. I don't know how long this video is going to take by the time I edit out the, what I'm not going to put in it. I know it was a pain in the ass, and if I had to do over again, I'd have, I wouldn't have wanted it. Not with everything that's been going on around me here, this week. Having to avoid some of the, any of the tow-ins if they don't run, right now, because if it's during work hours and they call, it's have to have them call back or something. It's just, when you don't know what you're getting into, it's just too time consuming. This here ate me alive. The book calls for a certain amount of time, and the rust jacking on the fuel lines turned into a beating trying to save his lines, so I wouldn't have to order them from the dealer and be down for 2 days with it hanging on my lift, because I'll be needing it in the morning. So I had to bust my hump this afternoon and kind of schedule around getting this thing done. I got quite a few calls today, and I just had to let them go. They called me back later because I knew tomorrow and the next day I already had enough on it, besides the calls and the walk-ins that come that you have to talk to. It's just, you lose 2 hours a day of work time. You look up and it's 3 o'clock, your day's gone. That's why I was up here last night. Today's Wednesday, and it's about 20 till 9, something like that. But I wanted to get you some, I was hoping to get you a good scope capture after, and it'd be, magnificent difference, but it's not. I think it was a connection problem more than anything from the pump pulling too many amps. After 150,000 miles is what's on the ticker, 151. I guess that's enough to catch up with them. But we'll call it quits on this, and if you watched it this far, hopefully it was entertaining, especially all the garbage of changing it out and what you got to see on that. So we'll call it a night. I'm tired, and I've got a day tomorrow that's don't stop.